One of our auxiliary bishops was sharing with me that during a visit to a parish, it was a mass for the community. The altar boy came to him at the time of the washing of the hands and told him they didn't leave the bowl and the cloth for the washing of the hands. And the bishop said, well, that's okay, we'll just skip it. But the very dutiful young man serving was so concerned that he said to the bishop, yes, but Bishop, what about your iniquities? Well, of course, we begin this season of Lent maybe thinking about our iniquities. And yet the readings today that we have for the launching of Lent draw our attention to how the great temptation in life is to overlook and forget our dignity. Because when we do so, then we do sin. We forget who we are. And so that is how we should read these three temptations of Jesus along the lines of the penitential practices that we're called to of fasting, prayer, and almsgiving. We see, first of all, that Jesus is tempted because he's hungry. And yet he draws attention to Satan that there are deeper hungers in the human heart than just filling one's stomach or possessing things in this world. It is, in fact, a hunger that we have for the great virtues of joy and patience, peace, justice in the world. That we are in some way to fast from the ordinary things of life, not only the food that we eat, but also our behaviors that keep us from overlooking the real values in life that we should pursue. And then, of course, he takes Jesus to the top of the temple, the parapet, and he wants him to throw himself down to, in some way, stun people into belief, to show that he really is worth something because angels will come and rescue you. But Jesus' self-worth is understanding that his Father is always with him. That is a temptation that the people of Israel had in the desert. They asked, is God with us or not? That was when Jesus said that God said we should not put the Lord to the test. Jesus is one who is aware that God is always with him. And so in our prayer should draw us into a union with God in such a way that we have confidence that we're not abandoned, that God is with us. That's why prayer is so important to overcome the temptation to doubt our worth. And finally, we see that Satan wants to give him everything in the world if he would just bow down and worship him. And it is here that Jesus reminds him that the great gift that we are given in life is the ability to be generous like God, to be just like God, and to adore the God who is so generous to us that we're going to be generous as well to others. And that is what almsgiving is about in this season. Once again, to recapture our dignity as those who have been gifted so much by God that we're free internally to be able to share with others. It's important as we begin this season of Lent, yes, to confess our sinfulness, to know that we have done wrong, but also to recapture our dignity. Maybe that's why the English word for this season, Lent, has been chosen. It really means springtime. It's an opportunity for us to have a new springtime of faith and God's grace in our lives that perhaps we have overlooked, to reclaim our dignity. And so the challenge in this season of Lent is maybe not so much to focus on our iniquity, but on our dignity.